In this video, we are going to walk through the basic setup and use of Metabox with Oxygen Builder. Currently, Metabox has a lifetime deal on AppSumo that runs for, I think, roughly 25 more days. And I see that there's been a lot of questions within the Oxygen Builder Facebook group. So I wanted to make a video to walk through just the basics of getting started with Metabox and using it within Oxygen. I'll leave some links into the description for more. Once we're within WordPress, I'm going to start just under the plugins tab here. You'll notice that if you do install the main all-in-one Metabox plugin that you get when you purchase the lifetime deal of AppSumo, or if you've previously had it, you will need to also have Metabox, the free version, included. And it will automatically prompt you to install that if you haven't had it installed yet. So let's move back over into Metabox and look at some of the things we have here. Just first on the list, you'll see that it has post types here. This is going to be exactly like custom post types UI. In place of this, it's all built into Metabox, so you don't have to have another plugin just to do your custom post type. We can do that right here. Again, you can do custom taxonomies as well. So what I'm going to do here is show you guys what we're going to build. We're just going to recreate something very similar to this, which is going to be a team page using a repeater and custom fields that we're going to make from within Metabox. And I'll go through that starting here. So first thing we're going to do is do a post type. Once we've clicked that, we'll click new post type. And we're going to name that. So here, our plural name, do teams, singular name, team, and you'll notice that it automatically fills in the slug for us. We'll come across to labels on the top. I did not change anything in here, just left this all standard to what is showing. Under the advanced tabs is where we have more options again. If we scroll down, we can choose where we want it positioned on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and choose right under or right after posts. And you'll also see that it gives you the option to choose your dash icon right within here as well. So I'm going to just pick one in here. Go with this one. And then scrolling down a little bit more, you can choose what the capability type is and if it has an archive, which I do want. Then we can come over to supports to choose what options we want on the page. I'm just going to leave this with how it comes. And with our taxonomies, we can choose what we want there as well. And we are going to come back to this once we create our custom taxonomies as well. So now I'm just going to go over and click publish. Now I'm going to come over and choose taxonomies and create my taxonomy for this. And for this one, I'm going to go with positions for the plural name and position for the singular name. And again, it makes my slug for me. I'm not going to change any of the options here. Just going to leave all of these as they are. What I do want to do is choose what post type I want to use. And from here, you can see that Teams is showing up. So I'm going to go ahead and check that box and click publish. Now I want to come back over to my post type just to make sure that it is showing there as well. So I'm going to click into team again and my taxonomies. And now you'll see that positions is not checked here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click that checkbox and we can update. Next, we're going to come over and create our custom fields for this. We currently have none set up, so we're just going to click add new. And you can title it appropriately. I'm just going to say team member info. and come down to this add field, and you'll get this little box here that lets you choose all different types of options, and it even has a search type, so you don't have to scroll. You can just type in, like, let's say we're going to say a text area for our first one, and we can go ahead and rename it. What I'm going to do for my first one is about me. And again, you'll see that it makes our ID, and you do want to keep in mind what you are using for this, because we will need to remember that for a little bit later. Additionally, you can decide if you want to include a label or description for this. I'm going to leave them blank for now. That's up to you whether you want to use that or not. And then you also do have advanced options here, which again, you can add custom classes if you need to, and some other things that I'm not going to get into in this video because we're just going over the basics today. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my next field. So we did the about me, which is just going to be the blurb about the person. Next, what we want to do is going to be our email. So you can again type email in and you'll see that it has an option here. So again, I'm going to rename it to my email just to kind of keep in line with what I was doing previously. And those are all the options I'm going to do for that one as well. I'm going to add my next field, and this one is going to be a URL. And you see it accidentally took me to the top here, so I want to make sure I'm on the correct one. So I'm going to rename this one to my Facebook. And sometimes it'll change the ID, sometimes it will not. You can always change that yourself if you need to. So in this case, I want to, because it did not change it like it did on the other ones. I'm going to add another field. And again, we're going to do a URL. And on this one, we are going to do my LinkedIn. And again, that one changed my ID for me. And I think that's all we're going to do for these. So I'm going to come back up and click publish, just so it saves it right away. And then once we've done that, we're going to come back up to our settings tab up here. And this is going to let us choose where we want this to show up. So in this case, we want to choose our location, which is going to be a post type. And I'm going to X that one out and click. It'll give us our drop down here, and we can come over and choose team. It'll let us decide where we want to position it after the content or on the side. We want a high priority and the style of it as well. And those I'm just going to leave as it was. So again, I'll click update just so it saves. And you'll see on our left-hand side here, we have teams. I'm going to go ahead and choose add new since we don't have one yet. And I'm going to put the name as the title. So I have these saved off screen here from what I showed before. I just copied this. So we're going to do Lisa Hoover for the title here. And then we're going to choose picture as the featured image. Now I already added some to my library here. So I'm just going to choose an image here as set it as my featured image. And that's what we're going to use. And then you'll see our custom fields from MetaBox are showing down below here. So we have the about me, the my email, my Facebook, and my LinkedIn. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just copy in some lorem ipsum as a placeholder for the about me. I'm going to copy in a Facebook link here, and I'll put a 1 after it just so we can see that a little bit later. And I'll do the same with LinkedIn. Again, I'll put a 1 after it, and email, I will copy that in as well. For email, it will only let you put in an actual email. If we try and set it as a mail to link, it's going to give us an error when we try to save. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click publish, and now you can see it says please enter a valid email address. So just know that it's only going to allow you to enter just the normal email. So now we can go ahead and click publish, and you'll see that is now live. And go back to WordPress here, add another one. I'm going to start us out with 3 just to get started. So our next one is going to be Leo. Copy that again. Ooh, and it actually copied our image. Not what I wanted. We just wanted this. And I'll set my featured image. And next we'll bring in some more lorem ipsum copy. And email is going to be this. Grab my Facebook link as well, and we'll add a 2 after that one. And then my LinkedIn, and add a 2 after that one as well. And now we can go ahead and click publish. We're going to add one more. On this one, we are going to, again, copy the name here, paste that in, set our image. And one thing to note is I am using the featured image in this case because using an image within the MetaBox custom field type is a little bit more tricky, and I'll cover that in another video, I think. But to make our lives easier, we'll utilize the featured image since we weren't doing anything with that already anyways. So here, again, I'm just showing basic fields, whether it's text fields or links. You can also use a date picker if you wanted to add a birthday, things like that as well. All right, I'm going to copy over my lorem ipsum into the about me. Copy over email and Facebook. And LinkedIn. Now we can go ahead and click publish. And back to our admin dashboard. And next, I'm going to come over and add positions since I didn't add those in yet. It would have allowed us to do it right within. So I'll do that for one of them, but I'll set 2 of them up here. So our first one we're going to do is set up as CEO. We'll do CEO as the slug as well. And then the next one we will do developer. And then the last one we'll set up directly within. So back to my all teams, and we'll go into Lisa to start, clicking the name to edit here. And we want to come over on the right hand side, and right above featured image, you'll see that we have positions as an option here. Just clicking in the box, if you start typing, it should, it's not, yep, there it is. It should bring it up if you have a match here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, click update, and go back to our admin, go to Leo, and for him, we're going to choose developer. Sometimes you may have to type most of it out for it to recognize. It doesn't have it recognizing it with the first couple letters. So just go ahead and type it in and it should show it. And last but not least, we're going to add a position for Helen. And this one, we're going to use one that's not in there yet. So we're going to go with Project Manager and just hit enter, and it'll automatically add that as a custom taxonomy for us. As I said, that was not already in our list, but you can add that as you choose here. All right, so that was the side of entering all the data within the MetaBox custom fields and getting them set up. Now what we can do is go over to Oxygen, and I had already set up a basic header and footer already, just to save us a little bit of time here. So from in Oxygen templates, you'll see that I do have my main there, and I'm going to add a new template. And this one I'm gonna title Teams. I'm gonna choose that we use our main to inherit our design, and we're going to choose an archive and post type. And then from here, we can choose our post type that we want to use, which is team. So this is going to allow us to pull in the archive for all of the team members. Go ahead and hit publish so that I can actually edit within Oxygen. We are going to jump into Oxygen. And to start, we're just going to pull in some items from a design set. So I'm going to go to add, library, design sets, and Proteus was the one I used for the header and footer. So I'll just stick with that. Go to section elements and people, and then choose this team tile. Then once that's in there, I'm going to add another section and then a repeater. With the repeater open, I'm going to just bring in some items from one of these. So I'm going to start with the image and pull that down. And then the heading. Once we get all these down, we can start going into some of the settings. All right, perfect. And it looks like our heading is above our image, and it's not supposed to be. All right, so I'm just going to set this to single mode for now, so we don't have multiples at once. And then I'm going to go to grid, enable grid, and I'm going to set this to 3 because that's what we had set up above. You'll see it's looking pretty close to what we had. So now I'm just going to select our image, whether you just want to click on it or come over to the right hand side here and choose data. And since we're using our featured image for that, I'm just going to go ahead and select that and leave this as default. You can also choose a size if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it as default. All right, so we have our first one there, and then we will click into our heading here. If you double click, you're going to get this bar up here that allows us to choose insert data. And now from here, we're going to go to title. And in this case, I'm going to choose link, just so it does link to the actual team profile. We're going to now do the same thing in Project Manager. If you double click and then come up and click Insert Data. And now this is where we're going into our custom fields. So you'll see that in our options here under the post, we want to navigate to the custom fields slash meta options. Now this is just a standard option within Oxygen. It's not something that gets added when you have MetaBox, but it does. Using this, we are able to grab the data. So from this key field, you'll see it has a drop down. And if we choose that, we'll be able to navigate down and choose what we want. And I'll actually just realized we're looking at the position. So I messed up there. And for that, we just want to choose our actual taxonomy. My apologies there. So again, choose the taxonomy dropdown and position, and set a separator if you need to. In our case, we do not, so I'm just going to insert that. And now double clicking into our text field, again, we can come up to insert data, choose our custom field meta options again. And now this is where we'll choose our key. And you'll see this top one says about me. And then it pre-fills here. And if I click insert and click off that, it should pre-fill that for us, which is perfect. And I know we had our email as well. So I'm actually going to just take our text field here and duplicate it and double click in here. And before I put anything in, I'm going to type in email me and leave a space in there. And then I'm going to insert my data, choose my custom field, the key, and now we're going to have to navigate down and find that in our list here. And it should be my email, and click insert. Now you will see that it has added that in there for us. Next, we can go to our social icons. And this one, you'll see that it has some of these pre-filled in. I'm actually more of a fan of adding icons all by themselves. So I'm gonna just actually delete this and add in a div followed by an icon. And then I'm just gonna duplicate that right away. I'm gonna set my div to horizontal, just so they're next to each other. And then my first icon, which was Facebook, we're going to just search Facebook and we'll choose this first one. And our color, we'll just use this blue. And you'll notice that it has a circle around it right now, but we can ignore that because it's not going to show once we click off of it. But coming back to this one, and if we're going to want to actually set a link for it, we can come up and just click this little link icon here. And this is going to bring up insert link, edit link. You can just click the X on that. And then you'll see over here, it allows us to actually choose the dynamic. So here I'm going to do data. And again, we'll choose our meta custom field and scroll all the way down till we find my Facebook. And then we can insert that, and that's going to automatically pull that dynamically. And now we're just going to do the same exact thing on this one. This one we did LinkedIn. Choose our first one here, change our color. And make it into a link. And here, the reason we're exiting out, just because it doesn't let us do the dynamic link there. So exiting out of it allows us to do that here. And we want my LinkedIn. So now you'll see that we have all that data pulling in dynamically. If we want to style that up a little bit, we can. Add a little bit of spacing here between these. We'll do just a little bit above and below on each of these. And the one thing I do want to mention about this quickly is the email is not set up to be a link right now. If you want to do that, we can cover that, I think, in a different video. But again, we can change our coloring on everything here if we so choose. Because that's all just styling within Oxygen. I'm not going to spend time doing that in this video. If you guys want to learn how to style everything within Oxygen, should check out some more videos from the Oxygen team within YouTube. They do a great job of going over all that. I'm just going over how to pull in your data on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and click save here just to make sure that saves for us. And what I'm actually going to do is delete out these columns from before. And now we should be left with just our title above here. I'll reduce this so we don't have so much uh, space between there. And I'll hit save again. And we're going to go to the front end. And now you should see that it pulls all of these. And here you'll see that we have the three different names, their images pulled with them, their titles pulled, their emails all pulled correctly, their different bios. And then if we hover over our links here, you'll see we have Facebook/3, LinkedIn/3/2, and /1. So you'll see that it's dynamically pulling all that for us from what we set up within MetaBox. And that's just a quick basic overview of using the MetaBox data within Oxygen. Again, we're doing that by, again, if I double click in here, depending on the field type, sorry, it's not letting me do this here. Once you double click it again, you'll get that insert data if it's going to be a text field, choosing our custom field option. And that's the most important part, choose key. And in this case, we had the about me on this one, and it pre-fills our custom, and just clicking insert will insert that in. So it's very easy for the majority of the types. There are going to be a few items that don't work this easily, one being images. Those are a little bit more tricky. So those we'll cover in another video, but at least now we have a basic idea of how to pull some of this basic items in from a custom post type into a repeater or even just a page if needed. Certainly, if you guys have questions, put them in the comments below and I'll happily try to help walk you through. But that was, like I said, a quick overview of using MetaBox within Oxygen. Thanks for checking this out and hope to see you guys in the next videos.